Hi, this is Melanie from Hooked to the Left, and today I'm going to show you how to make this super easy ear warmer. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi, welcome back. We're going to get started on this tutorial very shortly. First, I wanted to remind you, if you do like tutorials as well as yarn hauls, yarn reviews, yarn product reviews, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you're reminded each time I put out a new video. Now for this particular tutorial, you will need a device to measure. So it's my little elephant dude. He will be linked down below if you like him. And a pair of scissors, also linked down below if you like these. A pair of yarn needles. These are also linked down below if you like them. And these are my favorite because the flexible wide-eyed needles, they were my favorites. And then you also need an 8mm hook. This is not among my favorites. This is one of my first hooks, big hooks that I bought. It's a boy 8mm, which is a good hook. But what's going to be linked down below is the 8mm clover hook, which is my favorite. But these are decent. It's just these are heavier than the clover hooks, so I like to use the clover hooks better. It just right now I have it buried in a project bag and I need to go fish it out, but I'm going to use this in the meantime. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind on ear warmers is generally you can make any stitch and just connect it. What you're really going to do is you're going to be measuring from here to here on your head. So you're going to measure from where you want the end, one end to lay to the other end to lay on your head, and then from there you will determine your measurement that you want. For me, this is anywhere between 4 to 5 inches depending on how wide I want my ear warmer to be. This one I made 4 inches because I didn't need it that wide. You also, if you don't care so much where it falls on your head, but you do want to make sure your ears are covered, then measure from the bottom of your ear to the top of your ear and make sure that that's the width of your a minimum width of your ear warmer. And I would actually go just a little bit bigger than that particular measurement. Now to get how the circumference, or I guess it's called circumference, but how big around you want this, then what you want to do is you want to take a measure and you want to measure around your head from the base all the way up to the top. So you want to go from, if you have a widow's peak or where your widow's peak would normally be, all the way down to the nape of your neck, and you want to measure that around. For most women, that measurement's going to be somewhere between 18 and 22 inches. Now, when I usually measure, it usually comes out to about 20 inches, which generally ends up being too big for me, or just right on the side of not being snug. So I make it a little bit smaller than that. It's probably the way that I hold my tape. So just to let you know, keep that in mind whenever you're measuring your own head. So that's how you make this. You don't count the stitches across, you don't count the rows up, you do it all based on measurements. And so in this particular case, I have made this, I think it was, I made it 4 inches by 20 inches, this whole piece right here. Okay, now you may be familiar with the rib stitch, and this is really just a back loop stitch. Okay, but one important thing to keep in mind and that we're going to be learning today is, can you see where I joined my ends? Can you tell? See, I'm pulling that all around. Can you see it yet? Have you found it? Have you found where I joined it? No? You haven't found it yet? Well, that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So that is the trick you're going to learn today, besides just learning the stitch to make sure that you do this. This is a a half double crochet back loop stitch. And let's go ahead and get started on this. So I'm going to go ahead and I thought it made it convenient for me, but no, it's the outside one. So let's just wrap that around, tuck that back in. I thought it was prepared, but now I need to find the inside. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I got just a little bit of yarn barf, thank goodness. Not a fan of a whole lot of yarn barf. Alright, so of course we're going to start with the black, but at least it's got some white running through it, so it won't be too difficult for me to show you what I'm doing. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys get a better picture of what I'm doing here. Okay, so let's go ahead and slip stitch. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use the tape measure to measure, which you can do that. I'm just going to measure it against this. Okay, so, and don't get too tight on your chain because you're going to be going into the back loop, and if you're too tight, then it's a little hard to catch that back loop. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep chaining until I have it about the same size as my other one, which is 4 inches. So if I was going to use the measuring tape, then I would make sure it would be 4 inches. And then I would add an extra 2 stitches to it. Okay, here we go. So I'm right at 4 inches here. So I'm going to add actually just one more stitch. Sorry, so the 2 stitches was wrong. It's just one more stitch. So you're gonna, after you make the right size that you want, you add 1 stitch. Then you yarn over, and we're gonna do a half double crochet into the back loop of the second stitch from the hook. Okay, so yarn over again and pull through all 3 to create your first half double crochet. And we're going to do that all the way down to the end. I'll do a couple more with you. So yarn over, go into the back loop, yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over and pull through 3. Okay, now I do want to show you the difference between a back loop. I know I've showed it in a couple other tutorials, but let's go ahead and just take a look at it again. So here, this here is the front, so you can clearly see the V's. Okay, so here's a V, there's a V, there's a V. Now when you flip it over, you get these little humps, and that is your back loop. So you always want to go into the back loop, and what ends up happening is it creates a much easier, when we go to do the seamless join, it's very easy to see which stitch goes to which stitch. So let's do a couple more of these together. Yarn over, go into the back loop of the chain. And you know what? Actually, back loop is going to be the theme for today in this project. Back loop. Just remember, back loop. Alright. Pull through and up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Let's do that one more time together. Yarn over. Go into under the back loop of your chain, yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, one more time. I think I just said one more time, but I'm going to say one more time again. It's my prerogative, right? It's my video, darn it. Alright, go through the back loop, yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that all the way to the end of your chain, and I will meet up with you at the end. Okay, we are at the end of the chain, and to go up to the next row, we are going to only chain once. Now, usually with the half double crochet, you would do 2 chains and then turn your work. In this case, I want it very tight on the ends so you don't end up with any gapes here. So that's why I do only 1 chain, and then you actually go ahead and you do your first back loop half double crochet into that very first stitch instead of skipping the stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn my work. So when you're working into back loop, and I have another tutorial on this, but it's using a double crochet instead of a half double crochet. The concept is still the same. It's just you're doing a different stitch whenever after you pull up your loop. That is the only difference between the two. So Here's the thing with, so whenever you're working a back loop, this is the top of your chain. And then this right here is your front loop. And this back there is your back loop. Okay, so that's your front loop and your back loop. When you're working the back loop of a stitch, you go into the middle of your V and under the back loop. And I'll show you that with my hook. And then, so that's into the middle of your V and under your back loop. Okay? So let's go ahead and do the first one. Now the first one is going to go into this loop right here. I hate it when it gets blurry. It's going to go into this stitch right here because I only did one chain, so I want to go into the same stitch. So we're going to go into this stitch. We're going to go down into the middle of that after we yarn over and then go under the back loop. So yarn over into the middle of your stitch and under that back loop. Okay, and then yarn over, pull through and up a loop. Okay, and then yarn over, pull through all three. Yarn over. We're going to go into the middle of the stitch. With this one's a little bit harder to see because it's almost all gray and I just hit the camera. But we're going to go into the middle of our stitch there and under our back loop. We're going to go yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over and pull through all three. Okay, so here we go again. We're going to go yarn over first. Okay, and then we're going to go into the middle of our V and under the back loop, yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over and pull through all three loops. Okay, let's do that together one more time. Let's go into the middle of this loop and or in the middle of the V and under the back loop. And I forgot to yarn over, so let me go ahead and take that out. Yarn over into the middle of the V and under the back loop. Yarn over, pull through and up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all three. Okay, so go ahead and finish out the rest of that row and I will meet up with you at the end. Okay, I'm back and I am at the end of this row, so let's go ahead and chain one and then turn our work. Alright, so this is the same concept. We're going to go ahead and do back loop crochet. And you're going to go into, okay, welcome back, and I am almost done with my third row. I just need to do the last stitch on this row, and just one thing I wanted to show you on this is, so as we get to the end here, this little end piece looks a little bit wonky, so it's hard to tell where the back loop is because it's kind of leaning down. Let me see if I could get that to focus a little bit better. So what you're going to do is take a look at, find the top of your stitch here, and here it is. And it's kind of angled down. When you look at it this way, it's angled down that way. So here's the top of your stitch, and that's where the middle of the V that you're going to go into with your hook. So you want to keep that in mind when you're doing this very last stitch, and it's going to be on all rows. On your very last, going forward, on your very last stitch, it's going to kind of be sloping down like that. And you want to make sure you pick up the back loop of that sloping stitch. And, oh, I forgot to do my yarn over, didn't I? I was about to do a single crochet, wasn't I? Alright, and then do another half double crochet so that it stays even. And then just chain one and turn your work. Okay, so this is going to be the last row that I do with you, since this is a one row repeat and you just want to continue on to the length of that you need for your ear warmer. I'm going to go ahead and leave you to that, and I will catch up with you again at the end. I do want to note that the coloring is going to be a little bit different when I show you how to join, and the reason for that is the very first time that I recorded this, The first part of this, and what I'm doing for you right now, the first part of it was really washed out as far as the light goes. So just so you know, it'll look a little bit weird because this color is turquoise, and then it's black here. So just a heads up on that. But it's all the same concept. It doesn't matter, you know, whether it's all the same cloth or not. But I just want to give you a heads up. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on with the project. And I'm going to show you the first few stitches again, since we're on the lighter color, and I think you'll be able to see where I go in a little bit better. And then I'm going to leave you to finish up the project on your own, and I will meet up with you at the very end. What you do is in the middle of this V, see how it makes V's all the way down? The stitches make V's, okay? In the middle of that V is where you're going to put the point of your hook, and then you're going to loop it under this back, or hook it under this back loop. So you're going to run under there, and then you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop underneath that back loop. Okay, so this is the front loop, and that's the back loop. All right, so I'm going to try and do this close up. Yarn over, okay, and then go into the middle of your V and under that back loop, and then yarn over, pull through and up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 3. Now I'm going to go a little bit further away from the camera this time because it's hard to do it when I've got it lifted up into the camera. So I'm going to go a little bit further away, so hopefully you can see it better. But I put I yarn over first, always yarn over, I keep forgetting to do that, and then go into the middle of your V and under that back loop, yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, go into the middle of your V and under that back loop, yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so one more together. Yarn over, go into the middle of that V and under the back loop, yarn over, pull through and up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and finish your project. Don't forget, at the end you want to get that last stitch there that's sloping down a little bit. You want to catch the back loop of that stitch too, and then just chain 1 and turn your work. So do that on each row, but go ahead and finish that up on your row and just make it to the length that you need to, and we'll come back together to join the project together, and that seamless join. Okay, so can't wait to see you then. We will come back together and we will join our project in that seamless join that I promised you. So I will see you in just a few. Got a new little kitty here watching as I do this, and he'll probably get in the shot here a little bit, but okay. So whenever you're wanting to join this, and I've joined a couple already, what you're going to do is you're going to join back loop to back loop. So that's going to get you your seamless join as you go across. No, you stop. You stop. So that's going to get your seamless join as you go across. So I've already done a couple here, and let me get in real close here. I think he's starting to feel better now that he's got medicine. He's wanting to play with my my yarn. He wasn't doing that before. You stop messing with my yarn. Stop. Let me go ahead and move him. He's way too interested. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into the back loop of this one, and we're going to go into the back loop of the other side that is lined up, that it is lined up with. So go ahead and pull that through. Doop. Right, and we're going to do that again, back loop to back loop. Again, back loop to back loop. back loop to back loop, and you just want to continue on all the way down to the end of the row, back loop to under back loop, back loop to back loop. So just like, you know, we did the whole project, and the back loop of all your stitches, you're going to join it the same way, back loop to back loop, back loop to back loop. And as we get closer to the end, you want to make sure that you line them up. And looks like I got a little off because I got 3 more stitches, and it looks like I have only 2 more left here, so that's okay, it's no big deal. So I'll probably do 2 stitches into 1, so back loop to back loop, and I do this all the time and it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to go back in that same stitch and then go to the back loop of the next one, and usually you can't even tell. You don't want to do it a bunch for a bunch of stitches, but only 1 stitch, it's no big deal. You can go ahead and flip it. So back loop to back loop again, and then what I like to do is go through the side stitch here on both sides and join right there. And the reason why I always like to you know, finish my row on the opposite end of my my chain tail is because at the end of my project, and I do this both on my hats and on my ear warmers, I first stretch this out to make sure it is where I want the length to be. Or, you know, I don't want it pulled on there, but you see how that stitch looks just like that stitch? This is where you joined. It looks just like that. That's why you do the back loop to back loop, okay? So there's no, it's seamless. It's a seamless join. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm just going to tie that in a knot right there. I don't pull it too tight because I don't want it to misshape this again. And then I just tie another little knot. And that I do get real tight. And then I go ahead and feed in my ends. Snip my yarn, and then I will feed in my ends. So that is how you get that seamless join whenever you sew it together, back loop to back loop, just like you did up here. So it looks exactly the same. So you can't really tell the difference between here to here to here. No real difference. Isn't that awesome? And then if you flip it over, which I know I got a little blurry there, but again, no big difference. I did something wrong here on the side, but this is a sample cloth anyway. No big difference between them. So, and that is why on my non-sample ear warmer, which I will go back up here, you cannot tell where I stopped and started this ear warmer. It is completely seamless. So isn't that cool? Alright, so that is how you make this super easy peasy simple seamless ear warmer for the coming winter months. And that if you like tutorials like this, nice simple tutorials, and as well as yarn reviews, yarn product reviews, and yarn hauls, then make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Until the next video, I want to thank you so much for joining me. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye bye. And oh wait, hang on. I may have lied to you there. Yeah. Okay, so be editing that out.